Hello, this is Sarah Brosh. Welcome back to my channel. So if everyone who watches my videos could do me a huge favor and subscribe to my channel and also like, comment, and share my videos, it would just mean the world to me because I would love to be able to monetize my channel at some point and use this as a way to raise legal funds to fund my legal efforts against Yale. Thank you so much. So I want to make a video tonight, about Jonathan Haidt and the Heterodox Academy and the Heterodox Academy conference, which is taking place right now in Denver. So I just want to make this really clear. I've been really upset over the last couple of days, just realizing and seeing that basically Jonathan Haidt has set himself up as this moral authority on social media moral outrage mobs, on trial by Twitter, on, cancel culture, particularly on woke cancel culture. He seems to be vacillating between, he can't seem to figure out if he's woke or anti-woke or, somewhere, in the middle. Who knows? He flip-flops constantly. So what I want to say is that he has been going around. He testified in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee. He's at the Heterodox Academy conference right now. He just, a couple months ago, wrote an article for The Atlantic, and he has basically set himself up as the guru, as the go-to moral authority on all things cancel culture, social media moral outrage mobs, the dangers of social media, trial by Twitter. And what I want to say is that Jonathan Haidt is a moral monster. Jonathan Haidt is a moral monster. Jonathan Haidt has no business going in front of the Heterodox Academy conference audience members, going before the Senate Judiciary Committee, writing articles in The Atlantic, going on podcast after podcast, presenting himself as the moral authority on social media moral outrage mobs. Jonathan Haidt is a moral monster. Jonathan Haidt is a moral monster. Jonathan Haidt full-blown participated in the witch hunt at Yale. He was leading the witch hunt at Yale. He fanned the flames of the witch hunt at Yale, which led to the complete decimation of my lifelong human and civil rights, academic and legal careers. I had to go into hiding for more than 3 years. I was deluged by death and rape threats. I was vilified on a global scale as a Pol Pot figure, as a genocidal villain, as a Nazi at Yale who was lynching Black students. And Jonathan Haidt played a huge role in that. Jonathan Haidt turned his book tour, his fall 2018 book tour for the coddling, into a huge part of the witch hunt at Yale, into a social media moral outrage mob, to attack me, to drive me to suicide, to destroy me, to destroy my life and career. And he did. He destroyed me. He destroyed my life. He destroyed my lifelong human and civil rights, academic and legal careers. So congratulations, Jonathan Haidt. Congratulations. You destroyed the life and career of an innocent, private citizen nobody, a lifelong human and civil rights attorney and activist who was also the PhD student The social psychology, Jonathan Haidt is a pretend social psychologist, wannabe social psychologist at NYU, I believe at the Stern School, it's the business school. Jonathan Haidt, there is zero chance that Jonathan Haidt didn't know who I was. And if he had any question about what actually happened during the living or napping while black hate crime hoax at Yale, he could have picked up the phone, he could have called my philosophy advisor, Jason Stanley, whom he knows. He could have called my social psychology advisor in the law school, at Yale Law School, whom he knows very well, Tom Tyler, the father of procedural justice. He could have picked up the phone and called Tom Tyler. And at the beginning, and for a long time, Tom Tyler did support me. I've addressed that in other videos. He could have picked up the phone and called Tom Tyler, and there's zero chance that Jonathan Haidt didn't know I was an entirely innocent civil rights attorney. Zero chance. Zero chance. The academia, especially at the elite level and especially within respective disciplines, and I was the social psychology PhD student of Tom Tyler at Yale Law School, the father of procedural justice at the Justice Collaboratory at Yale Law School. You can't tell me that Jonathan Haidt didn't know I was an innocent civil rights attorney. You can't tell me that Jonathan Haidt didn't know who I was. You can't tell me that Jonathan Haidt couldn't have just picked up the phone and called my advisor. He could have done that in 2 seconds. Called my advisor, Tom Tyler at Yale Law School, and asked him about me if he had any questions, any doubts about the living or napping while black hate crime hoax at Yale. And I now believe that, like many others did, that Jonathan Haidt probably defamed me, grossly defamed me, put my life in the gravest of danger, was attempting to drive me to suicide, was attempting to destroy my life and career, was attempting to destroy my credibility at the behest of the Yale admin, maybe even specifically at the behest of Yale President Peter Salovey, for get Sarah Brash killed, black trauma, moral outrage industry, money, and gain. Jonathan Haidt told disgusting lies about me. He defamed me. He accused me of being an egregious racist, and he did this in the New York Times. He did this on the New York Times book review podcast. He did this on Sam Harris's podcast. And I believe he did it in at least a couple other places too. He turned his fall 2018 book tour for the Codling into a repudiation of the contents of the Codling, of the thesis of the Codling. He repudiated it. Everything that Jonathan Haidt decries, he did to me. He did to me. And you can't tell me, Jonathan Haidt tries to say that he wasn't trying to drive me to suicide, but Jonathan Haidt's whole shtick is about the dangers of social media, moral outrage mobs driving people to suicide, in particular teenage girls. That's his whole shtick. So you can't tell me that Jonathan Haidt wasn't fully aware that he was putting my life in the gravest of danger, the life of an innocent private citizen nobody. And even if Jonathan Haidt wants to pretend that he didn't know that I was guilty, he sure as hell didn't know that I that he didn't know that I was not guilty. I'm sorry. Even if Jonathan Haidt wants to pretend that he didn't know that I was innocent, that he didn't know that I wasn't guilty, he sure as hell didn't know that I was guilty. He had zero evidence. He had zero evidence that I was guilty. He had zero evidence of this. And basically, Jonathan Haidt has continued his behind-the-scenes smear campaign against me this entire time. He has never stopped. He has never stopped defaming me. He has never stopped smearing me. He has never stopped trying to get journalists and all of his friends to not help me save my life and career, because he wants me dead. Jonathan Haidt wants me dead because I am the still living, breathing proof that he is a charlatan and a fraud and a bigot and a liar and a hypocrite. Jonathan Haidt is a fraud. Jonathan Haidt is a fraud. He's a moral monster who helped lead the witch hunt at Yale that almost got me killed, who helped lead the global vilification and defamation campaign against me that almost got me killed. Okay, Jonathan Haidt is a moral monster. Okay, he has no business. I'm sorry, my hand's getting a little tired. He has no business setting himself up as some, moral authority on anything. Jonathan Haidt has no business setting himself up speaking as a moral authority on any topic, let alone social media moral outrage mobs after what he did to me. Jonathan Haidt is a moral monster. Okay, Jonathan Haidt obviously prepared this email that he was sending out to anyone who asked him about me, and it was disgusting. It was a joke. It was ridiculous. And it showed what an absolute fraud and hypocrite he really is. He basically, in this email, he embraces everything that he decries in the coddling. He completely repudiates the contents of the coddling. He completely repudiates his entire body of work. Jonathan Haidt's entire body of work, he completely repudiates it. He embraces implicit bias. He embraces mind reading. He embraces safetyism. I mean, it's almost hard to believe, except that it exists, and I have the evidence of it. I have the actual email that he had obviously had prepared in advance and was handing out like candy to anyone who asked him about me. Jonathan Haidt is evil. He's a moral monster, and he needs to make a public apology to me, and he needs to stop presenting himself as some kind of moral authority on social media moral outrage mobs, because he is the antithesis thereof. The antithesis thereof. And right now at the Heterodox Academy, before the Senate Judiciary Committee, and podcast after podcast, it just makes me sick to my stomach. The fact that Jonathan Haidt doesn't think that he needs to face accountability for what he did to me. Jonathan Haidt thinks my life is so worthless and my life is so expendable and my life means so little to him that he doesn't even think that he needs to acknowledge that I'm still alive. He's just gonna gaslight me and get all of his friends and colleagues to gaslight me, and he's just gonna pretend for forever that I'm just dead, that I'm not even still alive, that I don't still exist. And everyone's just going along with this. Everyone's happy to just go along with this. And it's disgusting to me. It's reprehensible. I'm really struggling. I'm struggling right now. I really am struggling right now. I'm struggling. I'm very upset. I've been very upset the last couple of days because pretty much the whole world is just going along with this. The whole world pretty much is just pretending that I'm dead, pretending that I died, pretending that I actually did commit suicide, which is what they all wanted me to do. The whole world pretty much is just going along with this and keeps pretending that Jonathan Haidt is some kind of moral authority on social media moral outrage mobs, and letting him running around and pontificate about trial by Twitter and pretend that I'm not still alive. And no journalist, he's been interviewed by journalist after journalist lately, and no one has questioned him about what he did to me, about the witch hunt at Yale. And that is a failure in your responsibilities as a journalist. It is an ethical failure on the part of Jonathan Haidt to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee and not to disclose that he participated in the witch hunt at Yale that almost got an innocent civil rights attorney killed. That is a complete ethical failure on the part of Jonathan Haidt. Okay, I don't want this video to get too long, so I'm going to wrap it up, but I think I've made myself very clear. And the same can be said for everyone else at the Heterodox Academy conference right now who participated in the witch hunt at Yale. What you did to me is disgusting, and I will never stop exposing you monsters. You are moral monsters, and you need to face accountability for what you did to me, and you need to make public apologies to me. Okay, I'm gonna have all my fundraising links below. I love you all so much. I will talk to you soon, okay?